Hello, everyone. My name is Ingunn Westerheim, and I am the president of Osteogenesis Imperfecta Federation Europe. And I'm wearing yellow today because today is Wishbone Day, which I'm going to tell you about in a few seconds. Today, I'm going to give a talk about the impact survey, what it is, and how we did it. Thank you for inviting me to give this video talk to the ESPE and ESE Congress in Copenhagen. So first, I'm going to tell you a little bit about OIFE and who we are and what we do. The OIFE is a European umbrella for organizations that deal with osteogenesis imperfecta. Our international network includes 41 organizations worldwide. And our most important activities at the moment include the Stronger Together, which is a capacity building project for our members, the Impact Survey, the PAIN Project, access to treatments, and patient engagement in research and development. We represent our members in many different European forums and conferences, as you can see on the right side. And this includes our affiliated membership with the European Society of Endocrinology. Our vision is children and adults with OI living active and independent lives with access to competent healthcare and necessary social support. And our mission is to connect and empower organizations, professionals, and individuals to improve lives of people with OI. At the moment, we are run exclusively by volunteers, but we're hoping to have more paid support in the near future. And today I'm wearing yellow because today is the International Awareness Day for Osteogenesis Imperfecta, also called Wishbone Day. It's a little bit late to get involved when you see this video, but for next year, remember May 6th, then it's the International Day for OI. A little bit about osteogenesis imperfecta. It's also called brittle bone disease, but that's quite misleading because OI is really much more than just brittle bones. We also say that it's two different conditions as a child and as an adult, something the impact survey clearly shows us. OI is not only about brittle bones, it's a collagen condition, and it affects all parts of the body, which includes collagen, including internal organs, skin, nails, eyes, ears, teeth, you name it. And as you can see, the spectrum of OI is huge. Everything from people who are very small to people with normal height, which has an invisible form of OI, but that doesn't mean that they don't have any problems because of it. As I mentioned, OI is a collagen condition, and it's a rare genetic condition affecting bone and connective tissue. It's caused by a genetic defect resulting in insufficient production or imperfectly formed collagen, which is the main component of connective tissue, such as bone. As I said, many call it brittle bone disease, but this is misleading because OI is much more than broken bones. The major characteristics of OI are bone fragility, short stature, but as I showed you, people can also have normal height, scoliosis and other skeletal deformities, loose joints, hypermobility, other soft tissue problems, blue sclera, hearing problems, and dentinogenesis imperfecta or fragile teeth even without having DI. But today I'm going to focus on our project called the Impact Survey, which is an abbreviation for Living with Osteogenesis Imperfecta, Understanding Experiences Based on Community Insight and Evidence. Impact is not only a survey, it's a global research initiative and one of our biggest projects ever. In 2021, we collected the largest ever data set on the experiences of people with OI and their families, which covers almost 3,000 individuals, not with OI as it said on these slides, but in total, including caregivers and relatives. The Impact Survey is an initiative by the OI community for the OI community, but we must admit the idea came from one of the companies that we are working with called Mareo Biopharma, and they have also supported the project financially. But the OI organizations, the European one and the American OIF, took ownership of the project and also is the owners of the data which is collected and which we can use for other research projects after we are finished writing up the articles from this project. In the steering committee, we also had clinical experts from the US and Europe, and we had technical support from the consultancy company Wickenstones, which was very important to have a good quality project. The core aims of the impact survey was to highlight important and relevant issues for people with OI, collect information on previously unexplored topics, which were quite a lot of, raise awareness and generate data to support access to new treatments and better care. Impact was designed to capture insights from a diverse representation of people on several topics. This includes adults with OI themselves. Adolescents with OI had a separate survey to fill out. Caregivers with OI, caregivers without OI, and also a small percentage of relatives. It was translated into 8 languages and open to people around the world. And there were 3 different topics covered. And we asked, of course, information about demographics and also the impact of OI on clinical, humanistic, and economic topics. So Impact now represents the largest ever self-reported data set on OI. As I mentioned, we had responses from more than 2,200 individuals, which covers almost 3,000 individuals from 66 different countries. And this is what Tracy from the OIF calls the money slide, because I think it comes as a surprise to many clinicians and researchers who have been working with OI in their mind as a bone disease for many years. Because for adults, fractures come all the way down to number 13. When it comes to the health challenges, you had the last 12 months reported by the adults. However, pain, fatigue, and soft tissue problems comes as 1, 2, and 3, followed by scoliosis, other bone problems, sleep problems, dental, hearing, mental health. So for adults with OI, fractures aren't the most important thing, but it still has a large impact when they happen. What I also personally feel is very interesting data that we collected is on self-reported OI severity and a range of OI types, because there are many different categorizations of OI. You have the Sillens clinical classification, type 1 to 4 or 5. But many also just speak about mild, moderate, and severe OI now. You also have the genetical classification system, of course. But mild, moderate, and severe can be very tricky because what if you have normal height and you look completely normal, but you're deaf because of OI, some of those people might answer that their OI is severe, even if they're in a doctor's head, might have mild OI. So this is tricky when you have a survey and you want to know which group people belong to. So we decided to ask both about mild, moderate, severe, about self-reported clinical type, also genetic type if they had it, and also about height. So we could compare and put these data together. And as you can see from this slide, a large proportion of people with OI type 1 refer to themselves as mild, but quite a large percentage also call their OI moderate. And for type 3, which is considered the most severe, you see that it's a mix of moderate to severe. And type 4 is a mix, and it's not so surprising that they come also out as a mix and mostly as moderate. We also have data on the financial impact of OI to individuals. And as you can see, the differences between European countries are quite substantial. I won't go into details because you can read all the details and the facts in the actual published articles, and I will show you how you can get access to those articles. We also have data on the proportion of people who experience challenges accessing different services they need. And these charts are comparisons from the EU5, including UK, to the Nordic countries, Sweden, Norway, Finland, and Denmark. And as you can see, the problems people have to access power chair, manual wheelchair, hearing aids, and dental work, they are huge and also very different between the European larger countries and the Nordic countries where the conditions seem to be better and social security seems to be better for people with OI. So we have published quite a few articles already. As you can see, a scoping review, an overarching manuscript with the main findings, economic impact for adults with OI, and also humanistic impacts on adults with OI. This is still yellow, but both of these caregiver manuscripts have been submitted to journals, and we are really hoping that they will be accepted soon. When it comes to the patient healthcare journey in all ages, data analysis is ongoing. And we also hope to publish clinical and humanistic impact of children with OI and clinical spectrum of OI in all ages to see if OI actually develops over time when you are aging. So one slide about how we did it and what were the success criteria, because many researchers come to us and say, oh, can you promote our survey, or can you help us create a survey? And quite a few times we say no, either because we don't think the topic is important enough, or because the survey draft is not good enough, or because the time conditions are really not realistic. Sometimes they want us to publish something and keep it open for 2 weeks, and they expect to have hundreds and hundreds of replies. And this is really not how it works. If you really want to have a lot of responses and a relevant survey for people with OI, you need to start very early And you also need to secure ownership with the OI organizations. They again need to create ownership with the community, because we included people with OI in the development of the survey, in the translation quality check, and also the prioritization between the questions. Still, the survey was quite huge. It was almost 100 questions for some. And still, we managed to recruit more than 2,200 responders. And this is also because there was a great awareness about the survey. We started very early talking about it. We had a pre-launch at our General Assembly. We had an official launch, and then we communicated pretty intensively during the time when the survey was open. And we also had a webinar called the One Last Push. In all these communications, we try to explain the benefits for the community. What's in it for us? How will impact actually influence our future treatment and services? Will we hear anything about the results? Will it matter to me? We also try to avoid too many surveys the same time period or the same year. Actually, in general, because survey fatigue is a real thing, and we really want to prioritize the surveys that are important to us, not necessarily only to the researcher. We had a strong communication strategy, and we also had an element of competition between the national organizations. So we had weekly reports showing which organizations had done a great job on communication and recruitment. And this was also a factor that helped us to recruit even more people in the end. I'm not saying this strategy will work for all, but if you really are planning a big survey on a rare condition, I would recommend to involve the community really early, include them in the development of the questions, in the whole communication plan. Otherwise, it won't succeed. So if you're interested in more data from the impact survey, we have a lot of stuff for you. You can find everything published at the impactsurveyoi.com, which is a hub where you can learn more. You can also access resources for social media there. And if you are a researcher and you want to use some of the data from the impact survey in your research, you can have access to limited parts of the data that's not published already, of course, through this request form on this page. And finally, if you're not following us on social media already, I recommend you to do so. We are on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, which seems to be the most important channel for healthcare professionals and researchers. We're also on YouTube, and we have a website with Google Translate button, so you can read it in all kinds of languages. And if you want to contact us and ask a question, please use office@oife.org. And then, if you have any questions, I'm sorry that I cannot be there in Copenhagen to answer them live, but feel free to email us on OIFE office@oife.org. Thank you so much for the attention.